people missing. Should have taken attendance. Didn't do that yet. All right. What's your y-axis move? Too late. What's this one? What is it? Which, if we wanted to make a picture of it, which this question doesn't ask, what's the square root of 11? Like 3 point what? 3.1. So it doesn't ask you to graph this, but just for purposes of understanding what you're doing, I am going to do that real fast. So what you'd have to do is, what's the center, by the way? Don't be a robot. -5, 1. Because they do ask you just to find the vertices, the center. So we got that. The vertices are based off the center, so I need to know that. And then the foci, which are based off the center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. That's the center. And then I'd have to go 5 which direction? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a y squared. So what is this called right there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No one answered. What's that called? A vertice. So those are the vertices. So the vertices are the good axis, right, is the y-axis, so it goes 5 up. So the vertices are, don't do the plus minus thing when you have an actual number. It's -5, comma 1 plus 5, -5, comma 1 minus 5. And we can see them on our picture right there. Now these are going to be in the way, so I'm going to cowboy this. Yeehaw. Put those over here in the yellow. Because what I want to do is, what if I had to graph this? Well, you just got to calm down. Root 11 doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So what we're going to do is go 1, 2, 3, 0.3. We're going to do the best we can. And then 1, 2, 3, 0.3. We're going to do the best we can to draw the box. And that's good and that's reasonable. It can be done. It's not impossible. Not even close to being impossible. Then we draw the asymptotes, and we're still going to talk about those even though they don't ask. Because what we're going to do is cover everything you could run into with a hyperbola, I believe. Like, what's the length of the transverse axis? What's the length of the transverse axis? What's this length? 10. Well, you're not saying it loud enough. What's the semi-transverse axis? 5. What's the... Uh-oh, this is weird. Put it in root form. What's the length? What is it? No, that's just this. So it's 2 root 11 is the length of the... What's it called? Conjugate axis. So all these silly terms. All you got to know is know the term to get the simple math. Now, does the transverse axis always have to be longer than the conjugate axis? No. I warned you 3 times in my 3 examples that I was setting you up to fail. But I wasn't, because I said this is a mistake. I should have switched these numbers. All 3 of my examples, the transverse axis was bigger than the conjugate. I said that does not have to be the case. In your homework, you should have run into that. All right? Of course, this one again, transverse is bigger. So you're thinking that's the case. Then where do the foci belong? In the bowl. Okay, so that's actually easy. C squared equals, I mean, nice. I didn't mean to be easy. What's 25 plus 11? 36. What's the square root of 36? 6. So the foci, which direction do they go? 6 up and down from the center. What's 1 plus 6? 7. What's 1 minus 6? -5. Sorry. I think I don't know what I was trying to do. So, I'll help you in a minute. Okay, drop 6, and you end up in the bowls. Okay, that's everything they asked for number 42, right? Give me your homework. Okay, so today, tomorrow review, Thursday test. You better be at your utmost strength. All right, good start on YouTube. Yeah, Okay, deal with it. Test Thursday. Okay, so do your thing. Okay, so now, first question, it's one of these. You know, they give you information, and this is a hyperbola. All that you really need to know is what does the equation look like. So you're silly if you don't what? Draw it. And then 0, comma 3. And remember, I make foci little stars, whatever you want to do, or little crosses there. By the way, where's the center? Where's the center? All right, folks, we're not in tune because it's a very easy question. 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, and then is this an x squared minus a y squared or a y squared minus an x squared? Why is it a y squared, one person mumbled, minus an x squared? And this is serial, at least bowl, right? For this to be proper, we'd have to have hyperbolas going like that so they would fit in the bowls, right? So with the foci being up and down, what they call the focal axis goes up and down. I'm only using that term because of my next example, which was on our notes yesterday, but I didn't really talk about too much. My bad, dogs. Okay, and then why is it just x squared and y squared? Why aren't there numbers with it? Because the center is what again? 0, 0. So the only thing I have to figure out is what numbers go underneath here. Well, where does this go underneath x or y? It's not 4, but where does it go underneath x or y? Y. Transverse axis is good axis. Transverse axis is the way that this moves, and it goes up and down. That's why we chose y squared minus x squared. But what number does go underneath there? It's not 2. It is 4, not this 4. The transverse axis length is 2. That means I go 2 up and 2 down for what's called the what? Vertices. And it's 2 squared. So we got lucky if we just put 4 because this is 4. Really, it's 2 is the x-axis radius and you square it. And I still use the word radius even though it doesn't apply for this. Now how do I find this one? What do I have to do? The magic formula. And that's all you got to do. That's the bridge. So, what is C though? C is this. It's 3 squared, right? Which is 9, right? And then what's A squared? We already know that's 4. 2 squared. So what's B squared equal? Do I need root 5 or 5 here? And it is 5. And then I'm going to erase this and just put 4 because I don't want to rewrite it. But I just wanted to make a point in the video. Now, there's an indication, like I was saying before, not always does the transverse axis have to be longer than the conjugate axis. Finally, an example on paper that shows that. Even though I didn't do the graph, that's true. All right, I'm missing a word here. And then first hour, I had to go to the old notes. And I guess I'll do that with you because I didn't make a point on this kind of idea. So just give me a second. And here's what I mean before I let you write that question down. I didn't talk about this much, but it was on our notes. And it's not really a big deal. I'm not going to put it on the test, knowing what the focal axis is. But it is something that maybe another teacher would. So I feel bad if I didn't cover it. Focal axis, what kind of line is this? Don't say straight like the person first hour or red. It's horizontal. And notice this goes right, left. So what the focal axis is the horizontal line that cuts your hyperbola in half. It's almost like a line of symmetry. So if you have a horizontal focal axis, all it's saying is you're going right, left. What kind of line is this? Vertical. And this is a hyperbola that goes up and down. And that's the line that cuts this hyperbola in half. Half here, half here. So when I go back to the set of notes that says, has a horizontal focal axis, what am I saying this goes? Which way does it go? Right, left, or up, down? It goes right, left. So what does that mean it is? X squared minus y squared or y squared minus x squared? It's an x squared minus y squared. Good axis goes right and left. That's the x-axis. That's how you trick yourself on a hyperbola. Sorry, just had to stop there. And it is just x squared minus y squared because the center is 0, 0 again. So we're starting with these little basic questions. Now there's a little trick. What do I do with that 4, though? That's not really a trick. A equals 4. What do I do about that? Not square root. That's what A is. And square it, and where does it go under? It's A is the good radius. The radius of the positive, what axis this is going about. So it does go underneath the x squared. Now there's a trick. Hey, we've had this before, though. What does E represent? C over A. So apparently C is 3 and A is 2. There's a contradiction on the paper. Yeah. What does A actually equal, though? 4. So what does C actually equal? 6. So don't get tricked on reduced fractions. Okay, so if you don't know what E equals C over A, you're behind because it's the same thing in a hyperbola that it is with an ellipse. I didn't really tell you what it does for a hyperbola, though. We're kind of short on time on that. But for an ellipse, wow, C is always smaller than A. So for an ellipse, E was always between 1 and 0. Remember that? When E was closer to 0, what was your ellipse closer to? That one I do want you to know. A circle. When E was closer to 1, what is it more like? More ovular, if you want to call it that, or more elliptical, I guess is the math term. So now what do? Our magic what? Formula. And that's how you find these other parts. And the math isn't hard. It just is, do you know these things? And either do or you don't. 6 squared equals A squared, which is 4 squared plus B squared. What's 36 minus 16? Do I square root it, or do I just put 20 underneath y? 20, it's b squared. And then lo and behold again, finally got another example where the conjugate axis is actually longer than the transverse axis, because it doesn't matter in a hyperbola. It's good in bad axis. Okay? Is everyone okay so far? May I proceed? Okay, a couple of those, and then a couple of these. And then we'll go into completing the square madness. Oh, yeah. Some of us did not do that very successfully on that last quiz, and we need to practice it. Those that did, you're in good shape. You never got those? Yeah, we did. I actually handed them to you. Why is this on the internet? Well, I'm still doing it. Okay. You're a silly person if you don't what? Now, last ones I may have not drawn because the information given didn't really dictate a drawing. But these, just to make sure, you may think you don't have to, and maybe you don't. But I'm also like really sad if you don't and you get a wrong answer. That's not even remotely close. I get to do that as a teacher. Be upset. What does that also mean? Transverse axis endpoints. It means these are the vertices. So the only reason I say that is this an x squared minus y squared or a y squared minus x squared? But this one we got more. It's x squared minus y squared equals 1. And I got to fill in my missing parts. Remember, a hyperbola is minus on one of the square terms. Okay, the center is easy if you graph it. I could simply count. That's why I graph it. What is the center? Negative 1, 3. The reason is, what's this distance? What's this distance? So what does that represent? So the center is negative 1, 3. And then what does that represent? What does that 6 represent? Oh no, the radius of who? Is it A or B? That's all I'm asking. It's A. Those that didn't answer that, I'm going to cry. So actually, if this is a 4-point problem, you got 3 of the 4 points. Yes, you do. What goes in here? Plus 1. What goes in here? Cha-ching, cha-ching. Those are your points accumulating. And then what's this one? 36. Cha-ching. I get a 75% on this question right now. If I make it worth 4. Okay, and then, all right, what do I got to do now? Oh, they give us another piece of information. What goes right here? It is 25. Because the conjugate axis length is 10. That means 5 up and 5 down. I don't even care where that lands. I don't even want to. So I know the conjugate axis radius is 5. 5 squared is 25. All right. Here we go again. I should have said something different here, but I didn't. Transverse axis endpoints. I think I went around the room first hour and made them answer these questions. So I'm going to pick a group. Okay. Yet. 1, 2, 3, comma 3 is like right here. Doesn't that look a little cattywampus? Which I think does mean off center. Someone Google that word. I think someone told me that's what cattywampus means. Nobody cares. This is not on the internet. So what is it? So there's the center. I didn't get that all in there. He got it. Oh, I don't know what happened. No one's watching anyway. Hallelujah. So what's A is 3? Where does that? What am I going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And then where am I going to put it under? There we go. And then last but not least, what does this information tell you? Huh? B is 4. Here's why. You're lucky in this one. It's not the same as the problem when they gave you eccentricity, and eccentricity was not in the proper format with the information given. You had to actually mess with your fraction. An asymptote, like I told you yesterday, its slope is equal to the y-axis radius over the x-axis radius. No matter if it's going up, down, or right, left. This is always true how the box is made. So that means the x-axis radius is 3, and that already is, so that makes the y-axis radius 4, no fraction problem. So what do I put underneath here? 16 is the right answer. Only halfway through class. That was the first bell, right? Oh, it felt like the third bell. You get it because it feels like it's 3 times long in here. All right, anyway. That's what you would say. Boring teacher. How come this is a hyperbola? Because you told me and it's in the hyperbola section. There's a specific reason that it sticks out like a sore thumb. One of the square terms has a what? Minus. No matter what happens when I complete the square and I get done, one of the square terms will have a minus. Why is this not a parabola? It's very simple because parabolas stick out like a sore thumb. Parabolas have only, come on, one squared term. So at the end, you're going to get like just examples that are mishmash, complete the square, and you should identify what it is before you even do it. What is this if I did this? Maybe, it depends on how it works out, but it would. What does that become? Not an ellipse. It's actually a what? Circle. Because no matter what, when I complete the square, I'm going to get the same radius underneath the x as I would the y squared. X squared and y squared. And then what's this? Oh. That would be an ellipse because when I have to complete the square and then divide, I would get a different x-axis radius than I would a y-axis radius. So all these things you should be able to tell right off the bat, and that's how we're going to end the notes. What is it? And then we'll complete the square on it. So you're going. We'll go first. I'm going to point because we're on the internet. Am I going? Oh, we're going. So what do I do first? And then what? And then what? And then what? Stop! I had to put this, look at how I did it, and this together. What should I do mathematically? Do you know? Factor out a negative. And this is how I'm going to put it. I'm going to put it as like taking out a -1. Not only should you, you have to. Otherwise, you will not complete the square correctly. You can only complete the square on positive y squared, so on and so forth. So we have to get that out of there. So back to you. What does this become then? -4y plus blank, and then equals, what does that equal? Don't make this mistake that many did. 6 plus blankety blank. Now we'll go to you who said to pull out the negative and fill in the blanks. Fill in all 4 blanks. We'll go in order, left to right. 1, keep going here. Tread lightly. -4. Dun, dun, dun. Because actually you added -4 to the left side, so you must add -4 to the right side. And then you'll see at the end why this is a hyperbola when we're done. Last person in the group, what does this become?
X minus 1 squared minus 5.
Yeah, turn this back into minus. So we see, that's, I just wanted to pull the negative out. Now it's just minus 1 times something is just itself. Go ahead.
Y plus 2.
Ah! Same mistake first hour. It's weird. Y minus 2 squared. 3? What am I supposed to do with that 3, everybody? Divide it. And just for time, and this is on a video, and the video is already 21 minutes long. You want to get this equal to 1. So just do that. And then it's not a circle, though. If this was here, it would be a circle with a radius of √3. But it's not. What you'd have to do is create a box that the center is at 1, 2. A box, √3, up, down, right, left. Actually, the box would be square, but then it would still be a hyperbola after you draw your asymptotes and draw the hyperbola going left and right. So very close to being a circle, but it's not. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Whew. Okay, next one. What do you want to do? Go home. I'm just kidding. Me too. Look at what I highlighted in red first, then the green disappeared, but look at what I put in red. And this should be like what happened with ellipses as well. That's why I'm not asking something out of the ordinary here. Okay, take out a 12. All right, now I'm going to discuss what first hour did, and I almost fell on the floor because I've done this example many years. Look at all the terms. Anything in common with those terms? Too late, though. We can't do that. But what is in common with all the terms? 4. You could have divided everything by 4 and then made the question a little bit smaller. But that's not a big deal. We're going to stick with this. What does this become? -6x, and then what? And then successfully do what you need to do with this. Take out a -4, and then what? Now careful. Plus 4y. And you're all good. And then what do you do with that 44? And it is subtracted. Whoa. And then plus blank blank. The next person in the group, fill in the blanks in order from left to right. 9. If you don't know how to complete the square, that makes me sad. But it's half of -6, which is -3, and then -3 squared is 9. Felt like I had to step in and teach. And what's this blank? Sorry, my pen's not... There it is. What's this blank? What's this blank? And then what's this blank? 108. Because that's what 12 times 9 is. That's what you added to the left side. So that's what you must add to the right side. Getting all this? This is gold that is needed. Okay, then what's this? Killing me, Smalls. -16. All right, and then, 4. Nice. What is this factored? Okay, so they factored successfully. That was the whole point of doing this. And then what do I have to do? Divide by 48. Now, this could be a negative. What if this was a negative? What would that do to, what would just happen if I divided by a negative? What would happen? It would just flip-flop the transverse axis. That's all it is. But it's not, so we're okay. So we'll write this in standard form when we're done. All right, and that would be 12 into 48, isn't that 4? Actually, you can see the two numbers here. And then 4 into 48 minus, this is what makes it a hyperbola, 12 equals 1. There's another one. The transverse axis is shorter than the conjugate axis because that doesn't matter in these things. And then I think with, I don't know, it doesn't matter, but 3, 2 is the, 3, -2, my bad, dogs, is the center to bore ya. And then the the vertices are which direction? Right, left, how far do I move? 2. So the vertices are very easy to find without actually graphing. 2 right is 5 comma negative 2. 2 left is 1 comma negative 2. Then we could find the foci and all the other stuff and do our stuff. We'll have a radical. It's not a big deal. What I wanted to make sure is you understand there was one square term that was negative. Lo and behold, when I completed a square, I have one square term that's negative. So it's a hyperbola. And then what I wanted to end the notes with was with 4 examples. Sounds like a lot. And I'll pull a different crew. So I'll pull that crew because I just want to get everyone to get a chance to do something. What is this and why? Why is it a parabola? Now this is what drives me nuts. Which way does that parabola go? Don't think of hyperbolas. What is it? It's either going to be up or down because that's what happens with parabolas. So this is another reason why I'm glad I did this at the end of the second day of hyperbolas. Because you can't put those files together. You got to remember an x squared for a parabola goes up and down. If you mess that up on the test Thursday, there's not much I can do for you. You're going to miss a lot of points. All right, so that's the stuff you better get ready for and understand. Okay, next. What do I do then if it's just x squared that I have to complete the square? I give you a hint. What should I write next? And then what should I do? Equals, good. Good, and then what? Whatever you do to one side. Okay, and then the last person in the group, what's the blank? She barely whispered 16. And then the last person in the group, what is the factored form of this? What? Equals. And then I'm going to treat this as a review for all you people that are ditching me tomorrow. All right? What number is right here? It's a ghost. Boo. 4p equals 1. What's p equal? Which way does this really go? Up or down? Say it again. So this is why I'm angered. How many people make this difficult? First hour couldn't answer these questions fast enough. I got angry. What's the vertex? This is why I'm angry, because it's no harder than asking what the center was for a hyperbola. Ah! 4 negative 13. That's why I love these forms. It puts them all in like less to remember because all their forms are nice and concise. And then which way does this go? Up, right? So where should I go for the focus? Up. And where should I go for the directrix? What value should I go up and down? 1/4. Now, this is where I wanted to jump through that window. Thank goodness I'm on the first floor. What is the focus then? Just put it as a mixed number. Make your life easy. Oh, I think I might have done this wrong the other hour. And no one said a word. Who does that affect? The x coordinate or the y? I know for a fact I did this wrong first hour and not a word was said. Oh, sure. Ooh. Okay, so what does this become? 4, comma, negative 12. Yes, I'm excited. And 3/4. You can't do that. Oh, I want to throw some insults out there, but I'm a professional. All right? And I won't do that. That is simple fraction work. Ah! Now, what is the directrix? X or Y equals? You get that wrong, that's algebra 1 and pre-algebra. Y equals is a horizontal line. Y equals what? Negative 13 and 1/4. Not hard. All right, so I did this sketch, didn't even have numbers, just to see the serial table action. What's this? Oh! 2 squared terms. What if they were both negative? Ooh, that's a mind, messer-upper with. If I divided by a negative, what would those both become? And guess what? It would be no difference. I could mathematically do that and still have it work out to be an ellipse. What if one of them was minus? Hyperbola. What if I did this? What is it? The parabola. Okay, so that's why we need to know that's an ellipse and it'll shake out. What do I do first? Nope. I take a 9 out, and then it's x squared what? Minus 2x. Try to kill two birds, simplify your work. Then what? Blank. We'll have your friend do blank. And then what do I do in the next part? I'll be your calculator if you need it. Do you need it? Oh, 6. 6 quarters to the lunch lady. Or man. Could be a lunch man. Equals negative 9. What? Blank, blank. I ran out of room. Actually, I didn't. I kind of did. Let's. Blanks. In order. 1. Tread lightly. 9 is right. Lunch lady, 9 quarters. Or man. 175. Is that right? 225. 225. I don't know. I wasn't even thinking. I was thinking about lunch and I got hungry. Next. 9. X minus 1 squared. Plus, she didn't say it that way, I did. And then what? Squared. It is 2. Look at that. I'll be darned. And then what are you supposed to do with the 225? Divide it. And then lo and behold, when you divide by 225, this happened to work out nicely. What time is it, by the way? I think that's good enough. I'll show you the other two. Don't be packing stuff away, though. All right. 9 into 225, I think, is 25, right? So it's x minus 1 squared over 25 plus, that makes it an ellipse, and also makes it an ellipse because the y-axis radius is 9, different. That's why that's an ellipse. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go through all the things. Center. Everybody. 1, 3. Okay, what's the major axis? The x-axis or the y? X-axis. What's the x-axis move? 5, which way? 5 right is 6, 3. 5 left is negative 4, 3. Those are technically the vertices, which is the endpoints of the major axis. I hate that term for ellipses. The minor axis endpoints are, okay, good. Minor axis endpoints. I'm going to do it real fast. Okay, which way do you move for the minor axis? Up, down from the center. So 1, 6, 1, 0. See how you don't even have to graph them now that we've done this radius thing? And then the foci are 25 minus 9, which is what? Oh, give me a break. So C equals plus minus 4. 25 minus 9, which is 16. And then where do the foci go? Left, right, or up, down? Left, right. So I go 4 left from the center and 4 right, and I get what? 5, 3, and... Okay, negative 3, 3, right? Did I do that one right? 1 minus 4 is negative 3. And then the slope of the asymptotes. What is the slope of the asymptotes? Plus, minus? Oh, you don't? Yeah, good call. What's Mr. Samuels doing? Yeah, I thought I knew what I was doing. My bad, dogs. What's this a picture of? We won't complete the square on it. It's actually easy. That's a circle. All right. When you complete the square on this, you'll get an x squared. A y squared equals the number, even if you divide it by it. The radius under the x squared is the same as the y squared. And then what's this one? Which I don't have to do another one. Hyperbola. So those are the kind of things we're going to work on. A lot of completing a square, then graphing with all the components that you need to know. Okay, done.